Great. So I guess we will start, and hopefully some people will join us a bit later, and they won't skip a lot. So as already a tradition, we will start a bit with some facts, with some questions. So the first question would be for you: how frequently, how often do you engage or take part in meetings? Right? If it is once a week, you can write one. If it is more than 3 times a week, you can write two. If it is less than 3 times in months, you can write three. And if it is more than 10 times in a month, you can write four. So you can write this in a chat. We have already, yeah, two. More than 3 times a week. Wow, that's a lot. Less than 3 times in a month. So as you see, it depends. Good. We'll just wait a little bit. Maybe some people are searching for a chat. But if not, good. And how do you think, what percentage of people engage in multitasking during meetings, right? So how many people do something when they are also in a meeting, right? Maybe checking some tasks or anything else. More than 20%, less than 20%, more than 50%, or 40%. How do you think? How many people? Everyone. Well, hopefully no. For 40%, okay, we have one answer. Everyone, we will let's say everyone more than 50 then. Maybe somebody else has something on their mind. Multitasking, right? So they are doing something else during the meetings. They are trying to combine a lot of stuff. How do you think? Maybe people are counting, I don't know. But well, so the answer is 40%. This is the source. So as you see, multitasking is quite common. Very not everyone, but still 40% is a lot. And well, to really have a good impact on the effectiveness of communication, we really need to have a well thought out strategy during our meeting, right? And we also need to somehow plan it in a right way. That's why we are here, and that's why we will talk about key phrases, and we will talk about some expressions that can be used and that can help to build a meeting that is understood by everyone and where everybody can share their input and can share their feedback. So that's why our agenda will look like: we will have a kickoff, words for kickoff, words during meeting, wrapping up part, and also some tips. So we will start a bit with words, then we will have exercises and so on. So we will start with important words for meetings itself. We have the first one is agenda, a list of topics. As you see, I also have here the word agenda, so I am trying to show you which topics or issues will be covered, will be discussed today. And usually it is sent to participants before the meeting, but also it should be just stated in the presentation or in your speech. To convene, it means to gather for a meeting. It means to join. It means to be part of a meeting, to convene. To schedule means to arrange a meeting for a specific time and place. So when you have a task to arrange a meeting, to convene a meeting, you are scheduling it, right? You are checking the calendar, you are checking the free slots when people can join, and you are scheduling the meeting. Then you have RSVP, which is an abbreviation. I won't read this French phrase, but well, it means please respond. So it means when you are sent, when you are sent the invitation, you need to RSVP. You need to confirm the attendance. You can confirm that you can come to the meeting. Then we have invitee, a person who is invited to a meeting, right? Then we have stand-up meeting, a short meeting where participants typically remain standing to promote efficiency. And there is webinar, a seminar conducted over the internet, often for educational or informative purposes like we have today. And we have a short text, and we will do it in this order. I will read it together with you. Hopefully, you would read it through with me. And then we have some gaps, and you can propose your option in the comments. So there will be a gap, and you can write in the comments what do you think this word would be. This would be one of these words. So let's see. So in a bustling office, Emma was tasked with organizing a crucial project meeting. She knew the key to success was having a well structured gap. We can read it till the end. She prepared a detailed list of topics to cover, ensuring that all participants were well informed beforehand. So, what do you think we can write in the gap? Well structured what? We have already two answers. Maybe somebody else. Y- yeah, it's more than it's more like agenda. Agenda. Good. Then we have an next part. Next, Emma had to the meeting. She carefully selected a time and place that suited everyone's schedules and made sure to gap the meeting for the specific slot. So we can start with the first one. Emma had to gap the meeting. Right. Emma had to schedule in the meeting. Then she carefully selected a time and a place, so she scheduled and made sure to the meeting for that specific slot. What can it be? So to make sure that you have this in your specific slot. Yeah. So this is the convene hour, right? Together for specific. Together people for specific time and slot. Only convene. Good. Well done. Let's move on. Uh, good for the specific slot. To confirm everyone's availability, she sent out invitation and requested an something to ensure they would attend. So what she requested? What could Emma request from people? You're right. So response or in a business meeting words, it can be RSVP. Right. Well done. Then we will move on. It's almost the end. As the day of the meeting approached, Emma realized that some team members would be joining remotely. She decided to include a in the agenda, allowing those who couldn't be physically present to participate online. This would be stand-up meeting. Stand-up meeting. And then, finally, for a quick update, Emma planned a later in the week. This brief meeting would keep the team on track and ensure that everyone stayed aligned without dragging on for too long. So, what could she plan later in the week? Yeah, in this case, this would be a webinar. Yeah, this would be a webinar, as it's going to be more about some educational, right? Some keeping people on track about some information and so on. Good, well done. And we will start with our first part of the meetings. This would be how to kick off the discussion, right? Sometimes we are not only the ones who are invited for the meeting. Sometimes we need to arrange a meeting, we need to convene, right, people for a meeting. That's why these words would be quite valuable and quite crucial for everyone, because you never know, right, when you need to be an invitee or when you need to be a person who arranges. So we will start with how to kick off the discussion, and it can be various options. I edit them as a bullet point text, but you can also choose the one that aligns to you the most. So the one would be, I appreciate your presence and active participation in today's meeting. And then, so you are thinking, and then let's begin by addressing the first item on our agenda, right? Let's begin by addressing the first item. It means that you will discuss about this and that. So it means like you are studying the items that are on agenda. You can just say in an easy peasy way, I'm glad we are all here today, right? Without I appreciate your presence. If it's maybe you understand that this is a better phrase to use, you can use this one. Or good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Let's start off with. Or thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining our webinar. As I always say, right, something that just showing the gratitude. We can also use these ones. I am grateful for your presence today. And then let's dive into our agenda instead of let's address this item, right? Let's dive into our agenda. Let's start it. And you can start our most important objective or goal. Objective – це те саме, що goal. Ми вже вчили це, we have learned it already several times during our previous webinars, but this word will be always active, and you may forget about it, so it will be objective. Our roadmap for today includes, right, so what we will have in the meeting, and the blueprint for our meeting is, so something important, something that we will look at. So this would be it. Good. Then we have our exercise, and we need to find the synonyms. So these are the words, these are the synonyms. You can write in the comments the word that you need, that you think is a synonym, or that you are sure it is the synonym. Nevertheless, just try it out in comments. You will remember better. So we will have a word appreciate. What can be the synonym for this word? Goal, participate. What can it be? Yeah, value. Good. Then we have presence. Presence, synonym to presence is, you can think about it, you can think a bit about it. Yeah, presence would be attendance. Attendance. Presence, attendance, because this is a noun, right? You see, this is a noun, this is a noun. Participate, it is a verb. That's why it won't suit here. Good. Then we have begin. It's going to be a bit difficult one, but maybe you can see it. Begin. It's a bit right. So begin would be commence. Because kick off this and start off this, it's a bit about the meeting itself, right? And the beginning comments, you can a discussion or even any other context. But start off this and kick off this are the synonyms, right? In this case, I hope it's understandable. Then we have address. We had address the item. Address the item, right? It was I'm grateful for your presence. Let's address the item. You can think a bit about it. No rush. So the right word would be discuss. Discuss. Because delve into is a synonym to dive into. Dive into is more like пірнати, delve into теж як вникати. Вникати в адженду. Good. Then we have agenda. It's going to be an easy one, but they have still a different context. So in a meeting, vocab, better to use the first word, agenda. And for agenda, the synonym is schedule. Yeah, well done. Right, great. Then start always is understandable. Join. What about join? Yeah, in this case, you see it is participate. Well done. Well done. Participate. Good. Objective. Good. So the goal would be for objective and dive into agenda. As we already understood, this is delve into agenda. Great. Well done. And now we will move to another part of a meeting. It would be during the meeting. Same, we will have a bit of the words and we will have a bit of the phrases, so everything connected. So we have quorum, the minimum number of members who must be present for the meeting's decision to be valid. So if you need to make a decision, you need to have this or that number of people, right? If your team is, I don't know, if in your team there are 12 people, 12 coworkers, then you need to have, I don't know, 8 or 9. It depends on your um, uh, on your team on the matter that is going to be discussed. Then we have motion, a formal proposal put to a vote, right? So I put a motion to or I suggest this topic to be voted. I suggest this argument to be voted. So you suggest something to be voted for, motion. Then we have adjourn to officially end the meeting when you understand that all the things have been discussed, everybody shared their feedback, everybody shared their input. You can just adjourn meeting, officially end it, right? Because you are a moderator or you are an important person that is responsible for the meeting, so you can say adjourn. Then we have AOB, any other business. It is a word that is used for towards the end of a meeting to allow participants to raise additional topics. It means that if any other business, we can talk about it tomorrow, or we can talk about it later in another meeting, during another meeting, or we need to arrange one more meeting for AOB, any other business stuff. Then we have consensus, a very similar word to the Ukrainian one, right? General agreement among the meeting participants when everybody agrees on the same, and they were arguing and they found the consensus. Then we have anonymous, a decision. Anonymous, a decision or word where every member agrees. Тобто, коли є однозначна відповідь, right? When all people agree on the same item too. Point of order. It means that an interjection to question the process, usually when someone believes the rules of the meeting are not being followed. So you are bringing a point of order. So something was made not in the right way, right? Then we have seconded. This is a term used when another member supports a motion proposed by someone else. So I say, for instance, let's bring to a vote this motion about a budget. We need more budget for this. So I bring a motion, and you support this motion, then you are seconded. Then you second this. We have open floor, a term used when all participants are invited to speak or share their ideas. Mostly when it is um, a small meeting, right? It is not so often used. But when there is a meeting of 60 or 70 people, and basically it is not so often or common in your company that you can share your feedback anytime you want. It's better to have kind of an open floor where everybody can share it. So you are kind of finished with your arguments or finished with your points, finished with your agenda, and you bring a matter to discuss among everyone, so everybody could have a word, a voice to speak, right? Then we have roll call, the reading out of names to record attendance. Well, I don't think that a lot of people do that nowadays, but well, if it is the university or you need to do something, right? Maybe as a webinar, some people can do that too. So this is a roll call, перекличка, умовно кажучи. Then we have interruptions, breaking the continuous course of a speech or action of someone. So when you interrupt, so there are interruptions. Then we have parking lot, a term for a list of issues to be revised at a later time. So, for instance, you have a a lot of issues, and you understand that you don't have time for that, then you create kind of a parking lot saying that you will discuss it later, and when there will be another meeting, you have it already there. And so you said, so you can mention that there are still items in parking lot, so we can discuss it and then move to our topic. Good. Let's see. We have some exercises. Let's try again. So we have the gaps in the sentences, and we need to put the right one from these words. Let's see. To make the decision valid, the meeting must have the minimum numbers of members who need to be present. So what is that? Yeah, good. Quorum. Once all the agenda items were covered, the meeting was officially. Yeah, right. In this case, it will be adjourned, right? Adjourned, because this is passive. Good. We are almost at the end of the meeting, so we will move on to where you can raise any additional topics. Yeah, nice. Any other business? Good. Well done. The group reached the gap on the new project plan as everyone agreed on the proposed steps. Well done, consensus. Great. The vote was as all members agreed on the new budget proposal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well done. During the debate, a member raised to a question, the procedure being followed. To question. Не запитати, а поставити під питання. So what did he did? So what did he do? A member during the debate. He raised something as some rules were not followed. What do we say in this case? There are three keywords. Yeah, you're right. This is a point of order. Point of order. Then we have the last. The motion was by another member who supported the proposal. I have I see a raised arm. We can if you have a question, you can write it in the end. If you can please write it down, and then in the end you can put it in the comments if it will be comfortable for you and convenient. So yeah, back to the sentence. The motion was by another member who supported the proposal. What can we put here? Well, yeah, we have already the right answer in the comments, so this would be seconded as the member. We can also say we can just say the motion was seconded by another member without who supported the proposal. This is just a small hint for you, маленька підказка. So we can just say the motion was seconded by another member. It's already understandable that he supported, right? This proposal, this motion. Good. We have just this for the last ones with the approaching, everyone had a chance to share their ideas and opinions. Where can everybody share their ideas and opinions when a meeting contains a lot of participants? Something where everybody can share their ideas. Yeah, open floor. Open floor. Тобто with the open floor approaching, коли вже наближається ця от open floor, ми можемо поширити. Good. The meeting began with a to ensure everyone's attendance was noted. Again, not so common, but well, sometimes maybe we need to know this word. You never know. Where can everybody ensure their attendance? Great. Roll call. Roll call. Right. The speaker faced several during the presentation, which disrupted the flow of their speech. What could disrupt the flow of their speech? For instance, there was the agenda, then something happened. Right. So it could be face several, but because it is several, right? Kilka, it would be interruptions. Interruptions. Good. And the last one, some issues were put in there for future discussion to avoid delaying the current meeting, щоб уникнути затягування мітингу, який є зараз. Where we can put some issues. There are also two words. You can say, let's put issues there, not to avoid. Great. Well done. So this is parking lot. Great. Cool. Let's move to another part. So we have sharing updates. Um, Good. So again, we have some phrases that could be useful, and I will just read them through. If you have any questions, you can write in the comments. So the current status is as follows. Right when you start the you started the you started the issue, you addressed the issue, and you want to share some updates. Maybe you are not a moderator, but you want just to share the update or feedback, or your or just share input. So you can say our recent milestones include the latest updates on this are, or I would like just to update you on, or let me brief you on the progress of, right? Just to share brief information of what is going on. Then we have disagreeing or offering alternatives, right? Something that is very and always actual nowadays. So we can say, let's consider a counterpoint to. Perhaps we should reevaluate, переоцінити, передумати, reevaluate. I'm not entirely convinced about. To be convinced means бути впевненим, so I'm not entirely convinced about something, and then you can say, uh, maybe you have something to share about some updates, and you can say this, the previous phrases. Or you can say, might I suggest an alternate path? I propose a different angle on. I would like to propose, I would like to offer a different insight into. Or you can say, just to play devil's advocate. Sometimes when you want to introduce a contrasting perspective of the argument, of the point, right? So just to play devil's advocate, you want to be polite, but you don't want to, and you don't want to make a person uncomfortable about what he or she talked about, so you just to play devil's advocate, just a bit of a phrase. Or I second that motion, right? So when you show your agreement with a proposal, when you see that the point is good but there are a lot of disagreements, you can just say out loud your position. I second that motion, I second that proposition. Good. Let's try with a small dialogue again. We need to put some phrases of this in the gaps. I will read it through and we will decide what to put. So, welcome everyone. I'm grateful for your today. Let's get started with our main topic. What we can put in the gap at this. So, thank you. I'm grateful for your something. What can it be? If it is a meeting, what can you be grateful for? Attendance. Yeah, nice. With two T. Attendance. Yeah, it can be attendance, participation, presence, right? A lot of synonyms we have already. Good. Before we dive in, let's review the our new word. Maybe not for everyone, but maybe for somebody it is a new word. Right. Agenda. Our primary objective, goal, ціль, is to finalize the marketing strategy for the new product. Фіналізувати, зафіксувати маркетингову стратегію. I would like to gap on the progress so far. What can you do? You can check the phrases if you maybe screened. It would be dive into, dive on can't be. It's not dive as a word, it's quite suitable, but it needs into. That's why in this case, no. You can just say an easy word, update, right? Update. I would like to update on the progress so far. We have completed the initial market research. So we did this market research and received positive feedback from focus groups. Then the another person says excellent, blah blah blah. Yep. The latest updates on this are promising. What do you think? It's also out of the context. Maybe somebody has any. It can be a word that was not in the presentation. Maybe something that you would just want to offer, right? I would like to on the excellent something. The latest updates on this are promising. Yeah, surely it can be even. It seems. Yeah, it seems the latest updates on this are promising. Good. Yeah, it's just the word that we out of the context, right? Just for your imagination, what can be used. It seems suits perfectly. However, I would like to address a concern regarding the budget allocation. Then we have might I a different angle. So it's a discussion, and you want to might I a different angle. Yeah, you can suggest, you can propose. Yeah, a different angle. What if you relocate some of the budget from digital ads to influencer partnerships? It might give us better engagement. Then we have just to play our phrase. What if the influencer partnership don't deliver the expected results? Right. So there was a proposition, and you don't want to be offend. You do not want to be not polite, unpolite, so you just to play, this is a phrase. Yeah, devil's advocate. Just to play devil's advocate, just just to write as we already discussing, just let me propose my suggestion, right? My concern. Good, we should consider a balanced approach. I'm not entirely convinced about shifting змінювати the budget entirely. Uh, the idea of a hybrid approach that keeps digital ads and ads influencer partnership. Yeah, what about the idea? Seems easier, right? But sometimes we're just thinking too much about it. Yeah, what about the idea of a hybrid? Nice. And just a little bit more. I think that's a good compromise, to ensure we cover all perspectives before making a final decision. Again, not always the words that we just learned, something that something just you think is suits here or can be used in this gap. I think that's a good compromise to ensure we cover all perspectives before making a final decision. It's check-in. It's better to say better to ensure, right? Better to ensure we cover all perspectives. Краще впевнитись, right? Because as a verb, it doesn't really go well with the whole context of the sentence in the end. However, it's used, but in the end, it doesn't really give the needed context. Good. Then we have I, that motion. A hybrid approach seems like a sensible strategy. Our new word. Yeah, I second. You see, you can just say without I second that motion. Good. Great. Now let's and address any additional questions or comments before we what we can do with the questions. Also, can be the word not from our vocabulary. What can we do with the questions? Make the questions, but well, it's better about putting all the cards on the table, right? So we don't need to make them, we need to something with them. We need to something do with them and address. So we can say race, race, and address. Raise, підняти і address any additional questions. Raise and address. Good. Before we, and this is a new word, before we умовно end our conversation. How would we end the conversation, end the meeting? Yeah. Adjourn or sum up? Sum up. Before we sum up це більше підсумувати, а тут в плані відлучитися, так? Коли ми вже тобто підняти всі питання перед тим, як ми вже з вами розійдемося в цьому плані. Але sum up, так, як слово правильно, в даному випадку воно не по контексту. Тобто перед тим, як ми розійдемося, а не перед тим, як ми підсумуємо. Good. І останнє perfect. Finally, let's open the floor to discuss any other business. Yeah, right. Any other business. Let's open the floor for any other business. Good. Well done. Great. And then we have part wrapping up or summing up. Depends on who likes the phrase more. So we have action item, a task assigned during the meeting to a participant. For instance, there is a meeting and there is a task, and you say, okay, who can do this or that? So this is an action item, a task assigned or a task that you get during the meeting. Then we have follow up when the meeting ends. Usually there is a follow-up with things that need to be done or the things that were discussed, right? So all people could review again the main points that were discussed. Then there is a deadline. I'm sure that you all know, but still, the date or time by which sometimes must be completed. So maybe during the meeting you can discuss the deadline, or you can address the issue of not getting the right deadlines, right? So depends. To recap, as a verb and recap as a noun is a brief summary or review of the main points of the meeting, right? So it can be also a recap after the meeting. Next steps, the tasks that will be undertaken following the meetings, right? So, for instance, you had a brainstorm and then you try to come up with the next steps. To delegate, to assign responsibility or authority, так делегувати. У нас теж є таке слово. Wrap up, again, to conclude or finish something like a meeting or a topic within a meeting. Take away, a key point to be remembered or learned from a meeting, so you have a takeaway. Good. Then some more. to disseminate, to distribute, or spread information widely. So, for instance, you want to disseminate a recap, or you want to disseminate next steps, right, with other people who were not invited, for instance, or who could not attend a meeting. And then we have status update, a report on the current state of a project or task. Right, we had this word little bit in previous slides. Good. And some phrases that could also help to wrap up the meeting. For instance, as we conclude our session, I would like to thank you all, or I would like to talk about key takeaways, or in wrapping up today's meeting, I want to conclude this or that, or let's bring our session to a close. Thank you for a productive meeting. As we draw this meeting to an end, and what did we do? I appreciate your active engagement today, or let's adjourn with these action items and meet next week. Adjourn, right? You see this word. Thank you for your valuable contributions. Дякую за ваші цінні інпути, contribution. We will reconvene as per our schedule. We will meet again, right? I am grateful for your insights today, or we will wrap up with these final remarks. Thank you for a constructive section. Again, you will have the presentation, and you can just memorize the ones that you like the most. And now we have a small exercise. We have here the words. Here we have the definitions. So we will better do this way. I didn't conclude the numbers here, so you could just write again this word in the comments. That's why I will read through the definition, and you can write which word is that. Okay. So we have a report on the current state of a project or task. A report on the current state of a project or task. What is that? A report on the current state of a project or task. Yeah, well done. Status update. Status update. Then we have to assign responsibility or authority. When you give someone the task that you had, for instance, or the responsibility that you had, so what do you do? What does it mean? Same in Ukrainian. Right. Delegate. Delegate. Additional activities or tasks that need to be done after the meeting. Next steps. Next steps. Well done. A brief summary or review of the main points of the meeting. A brief summary or review of the main points. Yeah, this is recap. Recap. The date or time by which something must be completed. Easy. Easy one. Deadline. Well done. A key point to be remembered or learned from a meeting. A key point. Yeah, in this context, this would be a takeaway, right? So the summary is recap, and the key point to be remembered, lesson learned, this would be takeaway. To conclude or finish something like a meeting or a topic within a meeting. Wrap up. Well done. To distribute or spread information widely. Distribute information or tatatan information. Distribute information, spread information, or another synonym, disseminate. Disseminate information. Well done. Then we have the tasks that will be undertaken following the meetings. So the tasks that will need to be done after the meeting. Not assigned, just you understood that you need to do this, this, this. So this is going to be in one text, which is called follow up. Well done. Follow up. And task assigned during the meeting to your participant. This would be tasks assigned to you during the meeting. You are in a meeting, you are said, Nadia, you need to do this, this, this. That's why it's called action item. Well done, everyone. Well done. And let's move to one more. So this is going to be like this. This is a situation, and you need to choose the phrase that you think uh, suits the best to the situation. For instance, we have you are concluding a project status meeting. Concluding means finishing. You are finishing a project status meeting and need to summarize the discussion and outline the next steps. Summarize, sum up, right? So summarize the discussion, підсумувати і outline the next steps. Outline means підкреслити. Outline the next steps. Яка фраза найкраще підходить? Можете написати перша, друга чи третя. 1, 2, 3. Let's review the action items and set our next meeting date. Thank you for your contributions today. The blueprint for our meeting was very effective. The current status is as follows. We have completed the initial phase and will now focus on the next steps. You can say 1, 2, or 3. So you are finishing and you want to summarize and outline. Sure, thank you for joining. I see the comment now. Uh, yeah, so this is the current status is as follows. We have completed the initial phase and will now focus on the next steps. You need to summarize, right? And you need to come up with next steps. Good. One more. You need to start the meeting and set the agenda. You have three options, 1, 2, or 3. You need to start the meeting and set the agenda. You can read them through. Вам потрібно почати мітинг і представити розклад, адженду. Просто представити, не йти далі. Яка вам найбільше подобається? Well done. Третє. Good. I am grateful for your presence today, and let's adjourn with those action items. Good. Well done. Exercise. Again, you're summarizing what has been accomplished so far in the meeting. So, ви просто підсумовуєте все, що зробилося під час мітингу. Yeah, it would be the first one. The blueprint for our meeting was to discuss budget adjustments and upcoming deadlines. Good. The next one, you need to clarify the action items and responsibilities before ending the meeting. This one is quite easy, I would say. Вам потрібно прояснити, які завдання мають бути зроблені і хто за це має відповідати. Супер, молодці. Let's brief you on the yes, let's brief you on the progress of our current task and what needs to be done next. Well done, and the last one. You are closing the meeting and want to ensure everyone is clear on next steps. Тобто впевнити, що кожен розуміє, що робити далі. Тобто, next степи після вашого мітингу. Yeah, well done. I would like to update you on the new project guidelines. Let's adjourn and meet next month. Good, clear. But what happens if things don't go as planned, right? So maybe you have already delayed the meeting, or sometimes there were too many interruptions and something went not as you planned. In this case, we will see the situations and we will choose the answer that needs to be correct, right? So we will not have the phrases will be hide in the situations. For instance, the meeting runs over time due to lengthy discussions. What do you need to do? What do you need to say? Number one, we have spent too long on this issue now. Let's discuss it in a more detail after this meeting. Two, are we ready to make a decision? Three, you can discuss that amongst yourself after the meeting. What would you better say? What would you say? So basically, yeah, the first one. We have spent too long on this issue now. Let's discuss it in a more detail after this meeting. The third one is also correct, but it depends on how close are you with the people who are in the meeting, right? How if it is your team, or if these are other people, or the item is very important, right? And you don't want to make it to not value their discussion. So better to say that you will discuss it, but in more detail, but later, right? So just like that. Good. So that's why it is this. Then we have this one, when the time is running out and several items are still pending. So again, not a lot of time, and you still need a lot to discuss. We are running short on time, so let's move on to. Let's try to stay on topic that can be discussed another time. We are beginning to lose sight of the main point. How to improve the situation, how to make it quicker, how to be still polite in this case. You're right, this would be the first. We are running shorter time, so let's move on to this and that and that. Good. Uh, good. What can you also say in these cases? That what we had in the options here. So let's try. So this was, yeah, let's try to stay on topic that can be discussed another time. This was the only phrase that wasn't in previous options, but again, all of these items can be used. It just depends on the situation, but well, you can use various options of the phrases when things are going as you didn't plan to. Okay, now some question to you. So how often do you share input during discussion? How often do you share input during discussion? Every time, sometimes, depends on topic, and never. So we have four replies, maybe someone more. You can even say never, just these ones, right? Good. So almost always depends on the topic, right? But sometimes we do have meetings that may seem not so actual or interesting for everyone, right? And some people may keep silent. So what can we do in these situations when people aren't active? Again, we have a lot of phrases. I won't read them out loud. I will just can read some of them. So as you see, we have, I would like to get your feedback on, or what are your thoughts about, right? Maybe as you see, we had also an option never, as sometimes people just don't want to interrupt even, let's say like this. In this case, you can just ask, what are your thoughts about, or how do you feel about, do you agree, right? A lot of different options uh, of a phrase trying to encourage person to share her views or his views, because sometimes we still keep silent. Do you share my point of view? How do you feel about? What are your views on? Right? They're very direct, but they are still polite, and it can make your attendee feel valuable to you. Are there any other comments? Would you like to add anything? Are there any areas of this project we are not thinking about? Right? So you are trying to somehow help a person to help you. Or excuse me, could you please elaborate on what you said about that? Could you explain further how this is going to work? I'm not sure I understand what you mean by. These are the phrases not more about encouraging, but more about discussing more with a person about this or that item, right? When you feel that the person isn't very active about discussing this or that point, you can just check these phrases. or I didn't quite follow you. Could we have some more details, please? Sorry, what do you mean by? Correct me if I'm wrong, please. You are saying blah blah blah. So again, these are the phrases that you can use. You will have the whole presentation and access to the whole presentation, and just choose the ones that you like the most and do the exercises with them. Right, so this seems like that. We are quite very quick today, but I didn't want to take it long, as the topic is there are a lot of phrases, and there is still a lot to say. But I guess that with the phrases you have in the presentation, you can work better also with the tasks that are for home tasks, for the home task, right? So that's why at the moment this is that. Uh, a lot of I'm really grateful for you being so active today and for sharing your also some positions to some questions, right? One, two, or three. Right. So this looks like that. Thank you a lot for this short but still very pleasant meeting. And see you next Wednesday. Thank you a lot. If you have any questions, you can again write here uh, or find it in the presentation. Thank you. Thank you a lot. Bye bye.